Avondale group that you have seen today. My name is Alexandra Hinka.
I'm Kelly Andrews. I'm Sam Swain. I'm Lucia Tanner.
And as you know, the origin of this project is because the Uptown Consortium has been speaking about a new interchange at MLK for I-71. And we want to address the issues of this. Because Uptown Consortium is a main stakeholder for what happens in Avondale, but we wanted to make sure with our program that other stakeholders in the area, including local stakeholders, are involved in the decision-making process, and that together the local stakeholders and the major stakeholders can work to make a more sustainable Avondale with the triple bottom line of sustainability of economic, environmental, and social issues. And we've broadened these issues to cover things like the image and the identity of Avondale and the diversity of the groups, both economically and age-wise. And lastly, we want to address accessibility. And we've outlined a lot of the goals for these in our matrix, and we addressed how they impact the economic, neighborhood, and environmental impacts, and transportation as well. And we did a ranking system to show how each of our goals has an impact on the community. And
a higher number is more impact, or?
Higher number is more impact. So neighborhood came up as the highest impact, and economic came up as the next highest. And then some of our goals, which we'll go into more depth later, but the public food cooperation and the local employment and creation of a new economic market got the highest rankings for our goals. So to talk about accessibility, Carolyn is going to address our I-71 interchange.
We sent a proposal, the S3 proposal, to build an extra exit and access of I-71. That additional to access roads that will come from Taft, to and from Taft. This is a map maybe more locating the interchange. This is I-71, this is MLK, this is Taft. And now there's a problem of that people are avoiding congestion on Taft and that they are taking Reading Road up to the, I think it's the Dana exits, and we would like to I'm sorry. This will have an influence on two major things. So, as I said, Reading Road will be released from its commuter traffic that is going to and from Dana, and secondly, the traffic flow going to the I-71 from the Avondale community with the large traffic flow of, for instance, the hospital will go in a more fluent way. This extra interchange will be designed as a roundabout. This is a more systematic drawing, and this is a more conceptual drawing showing it's already changed. First it was a 3-lane roundabout, but at the last moment our engineers suggested it would only be a 2-lane roundabout. This will be connecting 3 traffic flows, the first one being, of course, I-71, the second one being MLK, and the third one being the service roads, which you see in the green hatched coming from and to Taft. The reason that we chose a roundabout is because, firstly, it has a higher capacity, bringing traffic on the highway, and secondly, it will reduce the traffic speed of the vehicles itself, but it will improve safety, and it will have a more fluent traffic flow around that point, relieving congestion, and we hope that Uptown Consortium will address some of these issues.
So we know that Uptown Consortium is a major stakeholder in Avondale, and we've spatially located the stakeholders on the different layers of our framework. And so obviously, like, the Uptown Consortium is made up of the Cincinnati Zoo, Children's Hospital, the Botanical Gardens, the Health Alliance, and we know that a lot of the I-71 interchanges that they've promoted are pretty standard interchanges, but we've recommend the roundabout because there's actually less land consumption, and there are some stakeholders that if we were to take an interchange that has more consumption, some of those stakeholders would be moved out. And those are more local stakeholders, such as the Corinthian Baptist Church, which has opportunity for programming. And there's also other local stakeholders located at the Avondale Pride Center that work throughout the entire community, such as the Avondale Youth Council and the Ceasefire, that we're hoping to work in with them with programming. One of the main components of our framework is a food co-op system, and we wanted to talk more about the food co-op system in which stakeholders will be working with for that. So,
yes, so this system that we developed is addressing as said before, the triple bottom line. Firstly, economically, we want to please the local stakeholders, but also we want to create a local economy and footprint identity for the community. Secondly, on the ecological base, we want to create an ecologically sustainable system and that's responsible towards its environment and also creates a physically healthy community. And thirdly, make the system accessible for everyone, not only socially, psychologically, but also physically, looking at the disabled people, younger people, people who don't have a car, etc. So neither a decentralized nor a centralized system on its own would solve this problem. So we went with a solution of a combination of centralized and decentralized, proposing locally grown foods that go to a local hub, a central hub, and of course people can shop at this hub, but the main idea is actually to have sort of market trucks that go into the neighborhoods, creating spontaneous markets, spontaneous heterotopias, which I will go further on later, bringing the food to the people, either that the people individually all have to go to a centralized place, as in this model. I spoke about heterotopia. I don't know if you guys are aware of this term, but I'm speaking of the term spontaneous heterotopia, which means, heterotopia means creating another space, a space in between spaces. For instance, a graveyard would be a good example of this. It is a physical, it's not really a physical space with walls around it, or at least in Europe it isn't, but once you get into that place, it's a sacred place. There are some rules put onto it, but they're not written exactly. So this spontaneous heterotopia, I can explain it with some examples. For example, this is a street preacher. He's in a rolling chair. Normally it's just shopping streets, but when he starts to preach, the buildings turn into the decor of the theater, and it becomes a scene. So that's what we mean by a spontaneous heterotopia, that it would boost the community feeling in different places and not just in one centralized place. I'm sorry if this is a bit vague.
Going on that idea about creating separate places, within, if you can see on this map, the delivery routes, we're going to have the central locations where people stop, and then we're also going to have an option for people to have their food delivered if they aren't able to reach those places, and if they aren't able to go to the hubs that we have. We have 4 zones within the food co-op, and within those we have designated stops that are things like churches and schools, any kind of large lot or parking lot that isn't being used, where people can meet and purchase and even, not barter, but sell their produce and buy others. The criteria that we had for the route that we have, we don't have a specific, like, it goes on this street at this time or whatnot, but we separated into the use that it was going to. For instance, if it was a stop that was serving the hospital, we'd have it from 8 to 10 in the morning, and then if it was to a school, we'd have it from 3 to 5. So